Taiwo, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lagos.
And the theme for today is freedom.
Yes, freedom.
Freedom!
Freedom of mind, freedom of expression. Be free, Lagos. Free yourselves, huh?
Okay, so if you
Just
like,
on a rant, it's on a roll today.
honestly, please
Anyway.
feel free to send us messages. WhatsApp is 0809-444-0981. On Twitter, it's at smooth981fm. Please use the hashtag Business Express 981. We're streaming live on YouTube.
All right, thank you so much, Ayo. So, should we
The market was free.
Yeah, the market. I think the bearish sentiment returned to the market yesterday. Let's leave the stock market alone. But guys, quickly, the news that has been we'll start off with the Andela news, Andela Nigeria. There was a layoff. Please help us understand why they laid off these developers and what the thinking was behind it and what it means for folks who want to train in the area of software development. So, Taiwo, what happened? I think they say it was 400 people, 400 developers that were laid off.
Over 400.
Yeah,
Over 400.
Yes, over 400. But it's not just Andela Nigeria, it's Andela Africa, more or less, across Africa there. So there's 250 between Nigeria and Uganda and 170 from Kenya. And the guys that they laid off were the junior developers, owing to the fact that they said, from their statement that their clientele, the skill sets that their clientele require more from mid to senior developers and no longer junior developers. And there's an article, I think the one you sent actually said that, sometimes you find a lot of these guys who are just sat in the office and they're not getting on projects.
Okay.
It's not because they're not necessarily, but they haven't been trained or they can't do the work, but the job requirements and their skill sets don't necessarily match like that. However, it's worthy of note as well that in Rwanda, they're actually continuing that program. And somebody told me from a reliable source, actually, it's because the Rwandan government is actually paying for that fellowship. So if you could backtrack, so getting into Andela is actually which visa is more difficult now? Because they have a 0.7 acceptance rate, which means out of every 10 people that apply, there's no guarantee that even one person will be taken on the program. Then the fellowship, you're on the fellowship mandatorily for 2 years, but you stay on for 4 as well. So it's almost like a bond, which means you have to stay for at least a minimum of 2 years. But generally, so they're keeping the guys there for about 4 years, essentially, and carrying that financial burden.
Because they're paying them as
they're paying them in from when they start the training. So if you're not getting on a project and you're not generating any income and you keep spending on you, I think so. Ultimately, it's a business decision, to say, look, we're not really going to grow, and laying off 400 people on their payroll that are literally not necessarily working on projects. Now, they still have some junior developers, but I guess it's those that are closer to maturity, maybe moving close from junior to mid-senior to mid-development, in that sense, But they made $50 million last year. Yeah. Hopefully, like somebody said, which is true, that they're probably getting pressure from shareholders to say, look, you need to start turning a profit. So
this is
one
part
of the
of
ways
that.
to be able to just remove that whole chunk from them.
Sure, sir. What does this say for the landscape, though, for those who are trying to look for jobs in this field? Is it that you now need more experience, or what's your thinking as to what this means?
I don't know. For me, I think the way the news broke was strange to me, because on one hand you're saying that you're laying off 420 staff, on the other hand you're saying that you will make $50 million.
I didn't understand that myself.
Right, so it means that you're saying that, I'm laying off this people, but it's not like we have financial troubles. We're going to make $50 million this year. I mean, it's great. You're going to make $50 million. So for me, it raised a few questions, right? Your clients want senior developers, but how do you get senior developers without junior developers?
Right.
I think it's irresponsible to think that you get senior developers without training people, right? So I mean, it's like saying I only need MDs, so it means that all general managers should be fired. I think it's such a irresponsible thing to do. Right. Again, I mean, that's sincerely my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I brought to fore is the fact that this thing about technology doesn't really scale. I mean, it's consulting, right? So a company that makes $50 million, I mean, how much is that in naira?
That's 18 billion.
It's in
18
billions,
billion naira, and then all you do is to write codes for people, right? And then you're making 18 billion naira. I'm not sure how many banks make 18 billion naira in Nigeria right now, but you're making 18 billion and you're not EBITDA positive. Like, after your revenue, there's a cost. I mean, it's a service business, right? So it means bulk of your 18 billion naira goes to pay salaries, you know, for developers
and training them.
And training them. I think it's such.
It's a heavy cost to carry.
It's a heavy cost. So it doesn't appear that skill is embedded into this thing. So it just questions the old assumptions around. Okay.
So your question is business model.
Is it a scalable model like it should be? And I think that's the second question. I think for me, it's that idea around, okay, you know, this is Andela, so we can fire as many people, which is done, which is fine. Then the final thing is that even these developers, like Tawad said, they're really junior developers. Maybe they've not had too much experience. I mean, I've seen people saying that, yeah, okay, because I'm an Andelan, this how much I'm worth. Hello, guys, calm down, right? You're a junior developer.
Right,
there are junior developers everywhere in the world. There's really no experience in here. So I think when a company is trying to recruit, you know, one of these junior developers, D0 to D1, that's developer 0, developer 1, right? The expectation of you is of a junior developer, not of an Andela developer, basically. So it's just that you know,
that dynamic.
Dynamics around it.
So Benga Komo says those laid off can use their skills or the skills they acquired for new ventures.
What do you guys think? Yeah,
they've been placed already.
Okay.
So
I saw
some
on Twitter people were
come
asking
out
for
as well
them.
and
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
yeah.
No, apart from that, I actually heard that one of the guys are one of some of these hubs here. I've actually found places where companies, maybe up to about 60 companies or so, to hawk their services around them. And let's not forget, it's not 400 from Nigeria.
Right. It's across.
It's 170 in Kenya, 250 between Nigeria and Uganda.
Okay.
Uganda.
You know, so
It's across the spread across.
so it's a spread across across Africa. But the interesting thing is that they're also trying to recruit 500 senior developers by the end of next year, which is, for me, I mean, it's a tough feat. You know, so how many
On one hand, you're not training anybody
anymore?
You
So
don't want to get
the
more.
people that have been
developers.
trained somewhere else are the people you're going to pick.
you're
into
going to
your own
pick
company.
into your own system. So
Let's see how that goes.
let's see how that goes. And I think it's a tough sell.
And right now you're having issues around scale because you're making $50 million, you're still unprofitable. Senior developers are a lot more expensive.
Right, then
For you to
you
attract them to the place, you
have
have
to pay
to
them more.
overpay them. So it means that eventually.
We'll be here in a year. We'll see how it goes.
Daniel says bad news for Andela, but good for firms that need in-house junior developers. And Muyiwa says our IT space is so young and it's necessary for companies to know experience comes from them hiring. Where do they want the experience to come from? Heaven? We need to help our young IT grow. Then Ayabankole is saying that this is the most impartial the most impartial and logical he's heard on this Andela issue. He supports his position on the sustainability of the Andela model, which the founders have been defensive about.
Thank you, Ayo, for confirming that Business Express has the best analysts in
Absolutely.
the entire country. Huh?
Yeah,
Fisayo, solid guys here. Thank you. I
And the best
appreciate
presenter, of course,
it.
Rotus.
I don't even matter. It's the analysts. They're the ones that matter.
Isaac says Andela's business model is a bit flawed. Also, they really need to learn to scale appropriately. But in the face of serious labor law restrictions like we have in Europe, I don't think it's good to lay off 400 people in one fell swoop.
Oh, Isaac is one of the people abroad. Isaac, how's it going over there?
But here's the other twist to it there. So when they came into the market, and we need to understand this as well, that they've actually done well for the market, to be honest. Let's give that a lesson. And people have been doing some of these things before, but one of the things they brought was that level of standardization in their training process and recruitment process. Then, you know, they also made it like an executive, an elite club thing, which I mentioned earlier.
With the low approval acceptance rate,
You know, but they pumped a lot of training into them, and they didn't just train them; they also paid these guys while they're on training.
Okay, what? Okay.
So, but the reason was because the quality they wanted didn't really exist in the market.
Right.
A lot of developers are self-taught.
Right.
You know, so and they just generally, Fisayo is not in his
We're going to spend the whole time on this subject, on this topic.
Yeah, but I totally disagree.
But they've actually whether we like it or not. But they've actually done. They've actually trained quite a number of people, and it's a lot of investment to train people.
I have to ask this question.
6 months.
I have to
of
ask this
training.
question. Now, let me just twist this to end power. the federal government's program where they're trying to train people to put them in manufacturing, schools, education. When you look at the costs and the time it's taking for Andela to do this, is it easier to scale the other positions that the federal government is trying to do to provide? It's easier.
Much because it's
much easier.
It's much more applicable across
Fine.
other.
Okay. All right, I just wanted
talking
to
about what Tyler
real
said.
quick. We gotta move on to another topic. Go ahead.
I wrote an article about Andela a few years ago on America. That got a little backlash, and I did my research before then. The point was that Andela, even then when it started, was hiring senior technical consultants, right? And then I just Googled senior technical consultant. I mean, this thing is open. Go on LinkedIn, Google senior technical consultant Andela. You see all of these people are from Kunga, are from existing tech businesses in Nigeria. So I'm wondering, right from the start,
what value add is that program adding?
Right from the start, these are people that are already working in e-commerce already within the ecosystem. They have junior developers within the organization. They could have trained those people in-house. So their training program necessarily I've not seen, well, maybe not many new developers into the market because Andela did not release the developers because, I mean, if you're earning an Andela salary, I mean, I'm not sure any local startups that are probably able to pay as much, right? And then people will just leave from Andela and move abroad because that's the only logical thing to do. So Tao now saying that they've done something for the market. I'm still struggling to see exactly what they've done for the market.
Because I've been in that recruitment space and I've seen some of these guys coming in there. But
we can keep on. Let's move on. This entire show will be about. Okay, can we move on? All right, Rainmaker. I see Rainmaker. Is that who's this was?
So this is Victor Silva who's saying a lot of senior developers have moved to Canada. The salary abroad can't be matched here. Andela should grow their junior developers into senior developers and then they mature into international projects. Fact is, companies abroad only accept senior developers right now. I know, I'm one.
He's speaking. He's in the mix. All right,
Rainmaker says on Andela, I have no words literally. The model is ingenious but not business savvy, and the growing concern is threatening. Rotus, please speak to your folks at CBN now. They should please advise Oga May and his co-traveler in the federal government, that's executive. These guys are trying to counteract themselves. They say they are the ones that said go cashless. If you don't pay open sum, even if you're trying to return cash to the banks, new POS transaction is attracting more cost. FIRS is planning to start levying online purchase in 2020. This country is living on the edge.
Rainmaker, 2020 won't be funny, all right? But we've already seen it. Look, we might as well just continue reading messages because the time is. Who was
Actually, we're out of time.
Well, just like that.
Just like that.
See?
Sorry.
Thank you, Taiwan, for your solid analysis and just taking up the entire time for. Anyway, it was a good discussion, and I appreciate everybody's messages on the matter. You see why we need 1 hour on this show.
Rotus, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Taiwo. All right, Lagos, we go on a break. When we come back, we have another conversation to talk about travel, and then at 7:30, Freshly Pressed 981. So we have ads 1.5 hours, and 7 o'clock we have a paid sponsorship.
See, the time is crucial. Well, it was a good discussion, so at least people. That's why everybody's been talking about.
But I get your point, Fisayo. Let me tell you, when they came, even if it was you that wanted to do that thing, let me tell you,
a non-developer.
See what these guys put inside the group now. They said it there. Jason said that's the only way that raised the money they raised. That approach, these guys were calculated from the
All right, thank you. Are you still on? No. Zara, Next, Amazon, Macy's.